Stand up, motherfuckers! Stand up, motherfuckers! Stand up, motherfuckers! Stand up, motherfuckers!
What is up, ladies and gentlemen and genders? We are rIVerse. My name is Diz.
I'm Khadija.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Monroe.
Welcome to a very special episode of rIVerse Reacts. In this particular episode, we thought it was very important at this time, aside from the global pandemic that we're still going through. And that being said, make sure that you guys are continuing to stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear masks if and when you can, and, spread love and light as much as you possibly can. Aside from that, we are also going through a very trying time regarding race relations and the Black Lives Matter movement that has taken pretty much, that has stepped to the forefront of the public consciousness and awareness throughout most of the world. For those of you who are unaware, there was a brutal, unjust murder of an unarmed African-American man named George Floyd in the United States, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, by police officers. And this has sparked global outrage. And outrage in the way that people have had enough of police brutality and police officers getting away with murder, essentially. We know this is a very heavy subject for a series that I know you guys are used to it being very fun and very light and reacting to music videos and whatnot. But we feel it's very important for everything that rIVerse stands for as a band and as people, that we bring this conversation over here to YouTube. We've been very active on our Instagram account. For those of you who are not following us on Instagram, you can do so at rIVerse Live, rIVerse Live, just down below. But we thought it was important to bring this conversation here to YouTube. This is our biggest social media platform, and we are very passionate about this subject. Obviously, as you see, there are two people of color within this group, two Black people within this group, and Zach and Monroe as well are very connected in their personal lives as well, aside from Khadija and I, to many people of color. And Zach also being an Arab man, we have a lot of diversity within this group. Monroe is also Italian, and Italians are very, I don't know, my interactions with Italian people in my life, they know what the tea is when it comes to the sauce, and you know what I mean? So we all are very much connected to this in a very big way. And like I said, it was very, very important for us to bring this discussion here. And with that being said, we hope that you guys can sit with us and have this moment, have this discussion. And, it is not your typical reaction, as I said, but it is something important that we all should be aware of. And thank you for joining us.
Yes, so today we're actually going to be reacting to a fellow YouTuber, AmbersCloset. I've been following AmbersCloset for like a couple years now. She's maybe one of my favorite YouTubers out there. She is a queer person of color, and she is very, very vocal and really involved in a lot of things having to do with Black issues, having to do with LGBTQ issues. She speaks really openly and honestly, and will always speak up for any person who needs their voice heard, kind of thing. And she uses her platform really, really well. So she's based in LA. She has been boots on the ground at the protests every day. And she's there like giving out masks and like with other people that she knows, giving out little protest kits, helping people stay safe, keeping everybody informed.
That's wonderful.
She released a video, I know, she released a video yesterday, I think, kind of just talking about what this entire thing is, why people are protesting, why it's happened, and how all of us at home or wherever we are can be allies and how we can help kind of make this movement happen. Even if we're not in the streets protesting, what are the things that we can do? So we thought this is a good video for anybody in the Ivy League or anybody on the rIVerse Live channel who maybe is not as informed or hasn't really heard what's going on or doesn't really know kind of how they can be part of this entire movement. This might be a good place to start. So let's watch this and then we'll kind of get into it more after.
And really quick before we start, as you guys may or may not have noticed, whether you've actually seen or heard the full song release that we put out recently, or even in the intro, after the intro of this particular episode and some of the other reaction videos, you can see the promo for a song that we put out called Stand Up. This song was recorded a while ago. It is on our second album, Poison Ivy, that should be out soon, sometime this year. And this song was written well before all of this came to the forefront of the conversation. And it addresses police brutality, and it addresses exactly what we're talking about right now. So as you can see, rIVerse has been on this issue and we've wanted to bring more attention and shine a light on this issue for a long time now. So if you haven't already listened to it, check out Stand Up, as you saw in the intro of this episode. It is available there's a lyric video available here on YouTube, and it's also available for streaming on SoundCloud. And before we jump into this, make sure that you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below. And we are going to hop on that internet plane right now to the United States of America to check out AmbersCloset. Here we go.
Oh, I'm circling. 3, 2, 1, play.
What's up, you guys? It's your girl Amber, and today we're going to talk about all the things that are affecting our country today. Now, as you guys may know, there have been so many killings of black people throughout our existence, and it's always just been a fight. But lately, there has been so many during quarantine that has sparked up our anger, our hurt, and our voices. And just to name a few that have happened during quarantine, there's been Breonna Taylor, who was gunned down by the police entering her apartment, filling her apartment up with bullets without notice, shooting her 8 times. Ahmaud Arbery was jogging in his neighborhood and was ran down by some men and lynched before our eyes. Tony McDade, a trans black man, was killed by the cops. And all of you guys have seen what has been going on and what happened to George Floyd. Now, what pisses me off is that every single time a black person is killed, there's always this narrative that is created in media or social media of, oh, well, cops kill more white people, without taking into account the amount of white people versus black people in this country, and how that percentage is so much higher when you take that into account. Or how people go, oh, well, there's so much black on black crime, y'all kill each other, without realizing what my friend Brittany Brown likes to call the proximity effect. When you're segregated, and black people are segregated, and people are affected by their surroundings. So yeah, there might be black on black crime in neighborhoods, but there's a lot of suburban on suburban crime as well. So I'm so tired of that narrative. It's an excuse. And so when we hear it, it needs to be shut down. Because at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the bigger picture. Cops are violent to black people, and that is a well-known fact. There are racist issues that keep happening all over the country, and there are hate crimes that keep happening all over this country that need to be shut down. We're living in a time where there's Karens all over the internet, which are terrorists in my eyes, because they use their privilege so much that they use the cops as their personal security. All because they don't want to hear that they can't do something, or when they're called out for being wrong. And I'm tired of it. Those Karens need to be penalized. 1, for wasting everybody's time, and number 2, for putting people of color in harm's way, knowing what may happen to them when the cops are called.
It's rude.
No, I said,
Yes,
excuse
you
me,
are.
I'm trying to buy
You're in
something.
America.
So?
You're in America.
So?
A nigger's calling you ignorant.
Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
At the end of the day, we're not asking for much. We're only asking for justice. Protests are created to show leadership that not only are we angry, but that we're not taking it anymore. Time and time again, we see murders by cops, and time again, we see them get off. But we will no longer accept their violent behavior towards black people. These cops need to acknowledge what they've done, create change within their organization, but our politicians need to hold them accountable for their actions. But most importantly, they need to be persecuted and charged for the murders that they've done. Our protests are peaceful, but they've been infiltrated by cops showing up with their negative energy and their violent behavior, but also agitators that have been planted and posing as one of us. But all they do is show up, destroy buildings, they loot businesses, and they tag Black Lives Matters on buildings as if we asked them to do that. And then the media spins it as if the protesters, us, are the violent ones. That's not us. If you're out there protesting and you see it, call it out, record them, and separate them from the rest of us so that it doesn't come back onto us. But thank you for all of our allies showing up. And because of you, our voices are being amplified. And this brings me hope that there may be change this time, because I don't see any other way besides our leadership actually hearing us this time. For the people at home wanting to know how they can help, if you're not able to show up to a protest, support the causes that need your help. Sign petitions, repost things that you see, send emails to the proper people that can really help change, so they hear us, so they know that they have to pay attention to these things. Follow Black organizations and Black businesses and support them. And also prepare yourself to vote, keeping us in mind. And lastly, I would love it if you guys support the Hands Up Act, which is an act that can persecute cops for harming people once they have been handcuffed, or if their hands are up. I have also listed numerous change.org petitions that I would love you guys to sign for Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and more. We cannot afford this movement to go without purpose. In the past, when someone has been killed, we hashtag, we use our voices, we cry out, and over time it starts to diminish. But we can't let that happen. We need to keep this momentum. We need to harness this energy for change. Real change. And it's time for us to realize our power. And it's time to get organized. If we withheld our dollar, they would pay attention. If we realize as a community our voting power, they would pay attention. If they realize our voting power with our allies, there's no way they can deny us. So it's time for leaders, whether it's an organization or group or city leaders or Black Lives Matter leaders, to get together and start strategizing. Let's create a list of demands, whether it's for our cities, mayors, governors, district attorneys, police chiefs, congressmen and women, or for our next presidential candidate. If we get organized and list these things, we're powerful enough to make them pay attention. And that's when real change will happen. I'm positive about it this time because, like I said, this time feels different. This energy feels different. If you're out there, you guys, stay safe. I love you guys so much. Stay amazing, stay proud, stay woke. Peace.
All right.
Okay, so that was great. I love seeing that. First of all, kudos to AmbersCloset for getting out on the front lines and bringing this awareness to her platform and being out there and involved in all of this. I just love to see it. It's interesting because I went to a protest yesterday. I caught kind of the tail end of it. And it was very encouraging to see all the people that were out there. First of all, to be surrounded by people of color, to be surrounded by my fellow Black brothers and sisters, standing up for basic human rights, and to be among them and to feel their energy was amazing. What was also really amazing was the amount of white people that were there with these amazing signs that you can see they spent time and effort and energy into creating, and they were out there fighting for it as well. I was blown away. I was very encouraged. And just like Amber, I had a conversation, I went with somebody and I had a conversation and they were saying, they were talking to their father and their father was saying, I don't know if this is really going to be any different than all the times, in the 60s and every decade there seems to be like, a really big kind of uprising for whatever cause. And, a lot of times it comes and it goes. And essentially was saying that his father was like, I don't know if this is going to be any different. And I said, this feels different. Like this does feel different than the other times that I also remember there being uprisings like this. It's a different energy. There's something different about it. And what I said was maybe the difference is now there's social media, whereas before there wasn't. Yeah. Where this time around, it's like the videos, the conversation, the imagery is like there on the internet, and it will always be there. And at some point in time, anybody could post that, and it'll just spread around. So it's like in our line of sight, consistently. As before, it was just the newspapers or the news, and once that's gone, that news cycle is gone. It's gone from your line of sight. So therefore, it leaves your subconscious. It leaves your mind. And I feel like this is different because of the access that we've had in terms of being able to actually see what's happening to these people, the brutality. We can actually see it for ourselves. And so that's why I also feel that it's different. So I don't feel crazy when I hear AmbersCloset saying the same thing. I'm like, it does feel different, you know? One thing that I also wanted to say was, when I think about what's been happening and the police and this whole issue, I always try to, like, aside from just the systemic racism that's very obvious, I also feel like there's a level of fantasy that police officers live in, where they go through their training, they you know, you have to go through your gun training, your this training, and your that training, and then they watch movies, and a lot of times people, it's because of the fact that they've seen a TV show or a movie or something where I want to do that. And they see the glamour and the excitement over being in a chase or whipping out your gun. And I feel like really and truly, there's not as much issues where the result should be somebody being shot or killed or whatever, but the police come and they make that happen. They instigate problems so that they can feel like, oh, I'm a cop. Yes. So they want to be able to shoot that gun. Imagine you being trained to use a gun after you watch somebody in a movie or on this TV show or whatever, and you're like, I want to be able to, but then you can never use your gun because there's no issue for you to use the gun. The gun's in your holster, and you're just like doing paperwork as a cop, or just driving around as a cop. You're bored. You're like, I want some excitement. So what can I do? Let me go to this small issue. This young black guy just ran a stop sign. So then I'm going to run up to him now and pull up my guns and create a big issue so that I can feel like I can go back to the precinct and say, oh, look what happened to me today. I was tussling and I pulled up my gun and I shot this guy. It's like this fantasy that I believe a lot of them create the issues. They create problems to feel like I'm a real cop. Yeah. Because I really do believe that 90% of the time ain't shit going on but driving around the city. You know what I mean? Or doing paperwork. And that's why whenever you see these videos of really low frequency issues that end up being escalated into like these people getting shot, guns being like, stop resisting. It's like you're causing this. Without you, all of the other after effects would not have happened. And that's why I believe the police are a problem. I do. And it's not like I appreciate, I guess, foundationally in some ways, because even that's questionable now, but what the police are supposed to be there for, they're there to serve and protect you, they're there to make the community feel safe, but really and truly there's a lot of things to question in that. There's a lot of systemic things in there that just make it not a good thing. And I really would like to be pro police, but I just, at this point in time, I just cannot. I just think there's way too much wrong. Like there's more on the negative side that I have seen than there is on the positive. Yeah. You know, and something as simple as the budgets that they create within the city, and the police are making the police budget is like $1 billion for police in certain places. I know in Toronto it's like millions and millions of dollars, maybe even $1 billion. I don't know, but there's tons of money put into policing. And then you look at all the other housing, this, that, where it's like this, there's like barely any money put into it. But yet the police are making so much money. And I believe the reason why the police and in a lot of ways, these protests and these rallies are being hijacked, and they're putting in these agents and these people to come in and like make it look like Black Lives Matter is destroying shit and rioting and whatever. Because if the police and that government can put in their little agitators to make it look like your city, your town is dangerous, then it gives the police
reason.
The reason. So this is why you need us. But really and truly, it's about money. We want to keep this money. So we're going to put in these people to discredit your valid protest, right? And we're going to put people in there to infiltrate and break shit down so that we can prove that we're needed and we can keep all this money. There's so many different layers to this. I could go on and on, but I'm gonna stop because I've already been taking up all the time. But yeah, kudos to AmbersCloset.
Yeah, this is a really big conversation, and we were kind of talking about this before, and we're like, we can sit here and talk about this forever, and there are so many different elements to really dive into, and I think that's a big part. That's what I would say, take away from this, Amber's video, giving a lot of resources of like things that you can do and ways that you can reach out. One, educate yourself on a lot of these issues, because people have been talking about this forever. She made a point of like, Black leaders, we need to band together and like make the next steps. They have, which is I think a really important part to talk about. There are leaders and activists and people who are really working towards change and like systemic reform that have been doing this for years and decades. They have been working on plans already. And now is the time that everybody's talking about it. Everybody's looking at it. Don't just post something on social media and think that that's enough. Or don't just go out to a protest and hold a sign and be like, I did it. We're going to change now. Take the next step to find these people. She linked a bunch of people. We'll put all of the links that she shared in our video as well. And then also the links to go to her page. But yeah, go and see what are the actual things that are in place already and the steps that we're trying to make already. Because a lot of what you're saying, Diz, it is a systemic issue. And there's a reason that police can be brutal and get away with it and continue getting away with it, because the entire system supports it. So making reform in terms of accountability when these things happen and police actually being charged and actually being convicted, that's going to, the same way I know if I go in a store and I steal something and I get caught, there's going to be a consequence. Police need to know if they go out and they kill somebody, there is a consequence. Changing a lot of the laws, changing a lot of the reform, the way the system is set up, budgeting, like you said, like there are so many things that are in place that people are actively working to change already. So let's go out there and like really educate ourselves and find the ways that we can help make that happen. The mission is already there. The movement is already happening. So we just need to put the bodies and the numbers behind it.
Absolutely.
I guess I feel like a CNN news anchor, because like it's like this is like part of like I'm like writing down my like almost like notes of things that are popping in my head, and I think that's important almost, because like it's like I'm wanting to properly make sense of my thoughts, how I feel on a particular matter, fully understand what someone else is, like what I am receiving. And I think that's part of like the education of self. Like it's like investigate, have curiosity, ask your questions, be uncomfortable, be willing to be uncomfortable. I really quickly, from the beginning to of our video of Reverse Reacts to the end, which we're not at yet, but I know we started off in saying that George Floyd was a catalyst to a lot of the, was literally like the match to a lot of, gasoline that was, anyways, my point in so saying was for the viewers at home, just to acknowledge the fact that this is like many other Ahmaud Arbery, this like goes depths of who knows how. This is only what we are seeing because a video was caught on camera. And I think that's to your point, Diz, as well, in terms of what's different now. I'll add to your point of saying that I think COVID has a lot to do with this. I think this is like, the world is not only in a fishbowl. Everyone is basically like looking and has more access to and more time to investigate kind of what's happening in the world. in terms of attention and focus. But also, I think COVID has, at least for me, been an opportunity to really question how I feel about certain things. It's like, what do I value? Who am I? You know, because in the hustle and bustle of like, you know, like grabbing Starbucks and life, just life, and it's drama, and sometimes it's minutia, when there are bigger concepts that need to kind of change. It's easy to get caught up in the, oh, I'm comfortable at you know, at home and not really doing anything about it, which is for the viewers at home. You know, like for me, I can very quickly go into that place of comfort and almost inaction by paralysis. I'm just like, I don't know what to do about a certain situation. And I recently came to a lot of like discoveries of my own self, and I'm feeling like I'm a participant in the global you know, movement, just because I'm pushing myself to a place of curiosity and investigation, and also like being willing to be critical of myself and all of those areas that I've you know, basically faltered, or where I've been imperfect, or where I've been a part of the racist system. Because my partner said to me something yesterday, and I'll finish with this, about, he said that everyone is racist. And I was like, I was taken aback. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not racist. And that was my defense originally. And he said, well, by virtue of us all being born into a racist system, where we are raised under these racist ideologies and basically the teachings that are provided to us, it's all ingrained everywhere along the way. So by virtue, when you come out the other end on the conveyor belt and you're a free thinking adult, like, no, you ain't free thinking, like, you are part of the racist system, he was telling to me. So I was like taken aback at first, and then I was like, that makes sense. Even though it's none of my doing, even though I think I might be a peaceful, loving, good intentioned person, the fact that I'm a silent participant in it all is makes me a racist, makes us all racists. I'm not calling everyone here a racist, but I'm saying that this is our conversation, and that was my conclusion. And yes, so.
I will just really quickly, I will say one of the things that I love the most that's come out of this protest, a lot of people online are saying you are either racist or you are anti-racist. There is no in between. There is no middle ground of just, I'm not doing racist things, so I'm not a racist. Like, if you're not actively working against it, then you are just continuing to perpetuate the cycle. Mm-hmm. And you are allowing the people in power to be in power. You have to actively work against it, otherwise you're part of it. And I know that's difficult to hear for a lot of people, but that is the reality.
Just quickly, from my point, I just want to say that I'm very proud of rIVerse for using our platform to speak about these things and speak about important things that are happening in the world. I hope and I think that there are many other influencers out there that are talking about these things that are going on, and I hope more people do. I hope that these conversations are brought to the table, because there are many viewers out there who have absolutely no idea what is going on. And especially for us, we go around the world. So we are literally hitting countries from around the world where they have no idea what is happening, right? And I think it is our job. I think it is our duty to say, like, hey, if you support this, look at this. Or look at what is happening over here while you're living like this. Like, there are so many things going on. And I think it is so important that we are shining a light on the Black Lives Matter movement. And it just makes me very proud of us to be able to speak on these things. And for those of you who are watching and you are living in a home where these conversations are uncomfortable, there are people in your family who are yelling at you because, oh, well, why are you defending them? You're not Black, or, you know, you're not Asian. You shouldn't be defending these people. You should think about yourself and what's going on with you. I know it is very hard to break through to people who don't get it. But I encourage you to continue having these conversations, have a healthy debate, educate yourself, show them the facts. Half of these people, half of the time, they have no idea what is going on. Like Zach and Khadijah and Diz have been saying, it's what's been fed to them their entire lives. This systematic racism, this is what they've been fed, so this is all they know. And it's okay to change your mind after learning about it. It's okay. It's totally fine to look at it and be like, oh, I knew this for so long, but now that I'm educated and I know what is going on, this is what I'm thinking now. This is how the world should be living, right? We should all be living as equal brothers and sisters around the world. And it's all about the equality and standing for the rights of, you know, you're important and you're important and you're important. And just because you're white doesn't make you better than everybody else, right? And it's just, it's a revolution that is happening, and I hope that you are all a part of making a change. And I feel like our generation of kids, like, we are the leaders of change, we are the generation of change, and we need to continue to make that a possibility, and we are going to make it happen. Not that we hope that it happens, we are going to make it happen. So hopefully we can all go through and forward with this mindset. And thank you for all of you who are joining in and believing in this, because it is something that is very important, and I feel like it's about damn time.
And go vote.
Mm-hmm.
Monroe for president.
But yeah, Zach, 100% right. Vote. Those of you in the United States of America and around
Everywhere.
the world, or whatever the case may be, vote. Use your voice. Use the power that you have for change. You know, for good change. You know. This was a great conversation, guys. We thank you so much for watching this episode of rIVerse Reacts with us, featuring AmbersCloset. Make sure you guys go follow AmbersCloset on YouTube. What's her handle, Khadijah?
AmbersCloset. So we'll put the links in the description down below. She's AmbersCloset on Instagram, on Twitter, and then her YouTube page is AmbersCloset as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Once again, we are rIVerse. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below to the rIVerse Live channel. Make sure that you guys are staying safe and healthy during this pandemic. And hashtag Black Lives Matter. We love you all. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hi everybody! Many of you have told us that rIVerse brings you joy and happiness on your brightest and darkest days.
But what you may not know is that you, the Ivy League, you really provide that to us as well. And so we wanted to use this YouTube platform so we can make a declaration together.
And that declaration is hashtag BWVL. You are beautiful, you are worthy, you are valued, you are loved. Say that with us, everybody, using an I statement. I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am valued, I am loved.
Because each and every single one of you is. Much love always from rIVerse. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy our content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below.